Bon dia and welcome along to the Sportscar Association Americas powered by RDocs. Welcome along to the JP Broadcasting Network as we are in South America for round 7 of the Season 2 schedule out of 10 here at the famed Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, simply known as Interlagos. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. I'm going to be joined in the booth tonight by Mr. James Parfitt. Well, the battle continues between our LMP3 and GT4 competitors. And over the course of a 35-minute race over this 4.22 kilometre circuit, with significant elevation changes, it really is going to be a true test for all. More to the point, well, how are things looking going into the round 7 in the standings? Aidan Young leads the way in the WSR Esports butt kicker Mercedes on 150 points. He's got a 22-point advantage over the Wigan Water Technologies racer of Garrett Mains. Miranda's M Squad DNR's Adam Brockway rounds out the top 3, a further 3 points adrift, with Gregory Hoverson still trying to claw back those points he lost at the very first round of the season back at Montreal. Christian Muniz and Ayrton Williams round out the top 6. The two satellite racing drivers, along with Arnaud Genest, are just one of the 7 drivers that have been able to break into triple digits. Kobe All and Sheng Zong for the Eternal Racing crew round out the top 9, with Michael Tirafino for Team Beef completing the top 10. Gabriel Gutierrez, Roy Brown, Andy Page, Peter Moller, Barry Sessoms, Adam Ostrich, Dean Kerr, Jerome Berthiaume, Joseph Maley and Dallas Cran have all scored points so far this season. Let's kick it up a notch and put it over to LMP3. Stephen McDonald, 17 points ahead of Echelon Simsports' Zach Hebert, with Miguel Vigo rounding out a 1-3 so far for Old Men of Geo, with McDonald ruling the roost. Mobin Carden, who's now got a one penalty point for a minor infraction at Laguna Seca, rounds out the top 4. He's ahead of Eric Nickens in 5th, with Michael Diaz, Flo Darms and Alec Bergstrom rounding out the top 8. Max Muir, Zachary Deus, Jeff Fleischman, Scott Angelo, David Duino, Andrew Chorostecki, Daniel Murad, Ivan Perez, JP Alfonso and Sean Symes round out the leaderboard. And with that in mind, bon dia James Parfitt, welcome along.
Goldschmidt, how are you? Hope everything is good there.
It is indeed. It's good in this side of the commentary box, but also we look at the GT4 Championship standings. Satellite Racing on 326, 70 ahead of Miranda's M Squad DNR. Eternal Racing ran at the top 3 with Team Beef. WSR Esports Butt Kicker, Solpec Precision Racing Gold, Wigan Water Technologies, Apex Racing Academy, SART times MC, and Ace Motorsports ran at the top 10 in the team standings. Old Men of Geo, 359 points, lead the way in LMP3, just 33 ahead of Satellite Racing. Solpec, Precision Racing Blue, Miranda's M Squad, Echelon Simsport, Miranda's M Squad, Oceana Coffee, ran out the 6 teams that have scored in the LMP3 team standings. Yeah, everything's all good here, my friend. Interlagos, what can we say? It's the South American Premier Circuit, and it is a true roller coaster.
It is. I love this circuit with an absolute passion. There is no better circuit anywhere. I don't agree with anything that anybody says about any other circuit. I love Interlagos. It's flowing. It's got slow parts to it. It's got Junção. It's got Mugello. It's got a little bit of all of it, and I just think it's absolutely amazing, and I'm really looking forward to this. I think this could be an absolute barnstormer.
We've got 3 more rounds to go, folks. After this, we head to the Eifel region of Germany on May 22nd for the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle is the penultimate round of the season on May 29th. And June 5th, we head to the full course at Mid-Ohio Sportscar for the season finale. But 10-minute qualifying, solo, 4 laps. And more to the point, this is where the drivers really need to be on their A game. And we are going to see those closing rates of speed coming out of Subida's boxes into Arquibacanderas at turn 15, the bleachers, and then heading into the infamous Estocena at turns 1 and 2 before Curva de Sol.
Yeah, they definitely are. Hey, listen, I like to pick up the fact that you've remembered.
Mr. Goldschmidt. That's how I remembered.
You put it on your track map, did you? If you didn't realise, and most people don't, and Alex didn't up until I told him, Acribancadas is what they call turn 15, and it is called the bleachers due to the fact that you can see pretty much most of the track from where you are. So it's on the left here, just behind that hill. There is actually a corner. It's part of Subida de Boxes. It goes into Acribancadas, and basically you can see over the top of the race circuit. So there you go, a bit of useless knowledge. I'm so proud of you, Mr. Goldschmidt. I feel like a proud father saying well done to his son for his exam results. Well done, I'm proud of you.
Thank you very much, buddy. I do appreciate it, even though I am slightly older between the pair of us, and I'm not going to get started on age at this time in the morning where we are in the United Kingdom. Oh, no, no, no. So it is going to be a case of we see Maximo going through Sabidi's boxes. Arquibacandas is where the pit lane actually merges into the start-finish straight, which to a point is pretty flat out. You see how close he is to the wall, and he's going to be the first one to cross the line, but a lot of drivers are on their out laps. So Max Muir is going to be the first driver that will get a real reflective lap time in the LMP3 class, of course, which has been pretty much mainly dominated by Stephen McDonald. Now, the reason why Mobin Khan has been given a penalty point is because he was a bit too over-aggressive and caused Flo Darms to go into a spin, even though Flo opened the door somewhat to him. Ayrton Williams in the number 25 Satellite Racing Aston Martin, teammate to the number 55 of Krista Moniz, is going really, really rapidly in the Satellite Racing Aston Martin. Max Muir, no surprise, folks, is already going purple across the board because he's the only one that's really started a hot lap. Miguel Vigo's about 10% of the circuit behind him, but Maximilian Muir, he's had a good run of luck, but he's also had some difficulties along the way. Has the Solpec Precision driver.
Yeah, the consistency's not great. He's only been here for 3 of the rounds. He's missed the other 3. But Maximilian Muir didn't start for round 2, round 3, or round 5. So he's only had 3. And I think, to be honest with you, if he could have stayed in a little bit all the way through, I think he would have done rather well. But unfortunately, as it is for Maximilian Muir, having them 3 0-point scores almost is going to kill him a little bit. So we'll see how he gets on. But he's got to take every win from now to the end of the season.
Yeah, air temperature currently 21.1 degrees Celsius, 23.3 is the track temp. As you see the information on the right-hand side of your screens, and a very warm welcome to everyone watching along on the JP Broadcasting Network. So thank you very much for joining us. And he's now making his way through Decido de Lago at turn 5, up to Ferradura here at turn 7, which goes into La Regina here at turn 6, now into turn 7, then into Esse at turn 8, Pinarino turn 9, then Vico de Bato, aka the Dutch Beak, at turn 10. Very tight right-hand hairpin. You can launch it up the inside of it. You've got to be very, very careful that it's not put you on the wrong footing for Megula, which is the downhill left-hand sweeper coming up now through turn 11, with the camber to the left-hand side. You can see the amount of steering wheel correction that Max Muir has already put in. Miguel Vigo has put in a 129.3. Mobin Khan, a very initial tentative start, let's say, 138.1 in his first lap, but look how close Max Muir is hugging turn 14, and then through Arquibacandas at turn 15. It goes, and it was a 128.8. It is still a 128.8. Eric Nickens goes up to P3. Michael Diaz has just joined the session in LMP3. Miguel Vigo comes across the line, goes second, 128.990. Aidan Young, however, the leader in GT4 at the moment, purple across the board, hasn't set a lap time. The time to beat a 138.828. He's more than on course to beat that. He goes across the line, and he goes top, 138.440. And this man has been a pretty solid GT4 bet so far this season.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He's done really well as Aidan Young, and I don't think it can be really disputed about how well he's actually done all the way across. He's had 4 wins, 6 top 5s, 4 poles, 3 fastest laps. you know, what can you say about that? That's a record and a half if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, so at the moment, well, Michael Diaz might be deciding to do the discretion better part of valor side of things, because he's come into the server, but he hasn't gone out on track, so he might decide, well, I'll stay at the back of the LMP3 class, because we have seen it before, folks, that there has been a little bit of carnage. Let's say round 4, Spa-Francorchamps, Interlagos, it all went horribly wrong for a few drivers, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. You're always going to get it. Miguel Vigo's on a fast lap as he's going up over the line here. So he goes over the line as well. Does Vigo improve? He does, onto pole 128.772 for Miguel Vigo. He's another one that's had somewhat of an up and down roller coaster season. He's had no wins though. He's had 4 top 5s and only 1 pole and 1 fastest lap for Miguel Vigo. So, you know, got to kind of get a little bit of a wriggle on, I think.
Well, I'll be completely honest, I've known Miguel for quite a long time. He is one of the main people behind GT4 Racing, who are the parent team of Old Man of Geo. And we have Andy Page in the 164 briefly. There's the 997, Cayman GT4 of Peter Moller, running with the Solpec Precision Racing team. Lovely livery on that 997. From a dark black, and it fades across to a bright radioactive fluorescent green at the back end of it as he is about to cross the line.
He needs a time.
He goes 11th.
Yeah, Andy Page is another one who hasn't got times, but they have had quite a lot of off tracks between the two of them. In fact, by what I can see, just off tracks alone, they've had 10. So yeah, they're going to have to try and get try and improve, but it's the Porsche, isn't it? Whether or not the Porsche really fits this circuit, whether or not the Merc is going to be the strongest with the McLaren tucked in and the Aston Martin of Williams there. You know, I don't really know where the Porsche is going to be. Adam Ostrich leading the way in the Porsche at the moment. He's the first Porsche, but he's all the way down in 10th in class, 18th overall. You know, don't think this is really a Porsche circuit, as Andy Page has just demonstrated.
Well, when you think about it, the Mercedes, the McLaren, and the Aston Martin, all are V8s, all are turbocharged, so that's going to help them a little bit more in terms of the spool up of power and torque delivery, which will be a little bit linear. Whereas the Porsche's a 3.8 flat 6 boxer engine producing around 500 brake horsepower, and it revs to about 9,000 RPM. So, you know, top end whack is where the Porsche really does have a little bit of go, but it's that build up in towards it. The turbocharged engines, even though that we're nearly 800 meters above sea level here at Interlagos, yeah, Porsche will do Porsche things as we are coming down to the final minutes of the session. And this is a really good run here for Arnaud Genest in the 312.
He pulled out.
Oh dear. Well, he did at one point. He was also running.
It depends what his offset was. I think that was the problem. He had 3 yellows before he got to that purple. So depending on what the offset was, maybe he sat back and thought, actually, you know, I'm still 3 tenths down, or not going to recover that going up over the line. But it did look like a bit of an interesting one, but never mind for him. We're going to see. I don't think Diaz is going to be able to get a lap in. I may be mistaken, but we're going to find out very shortly.
Yeah, he's just going through Commentators at the moment at turn number 15 as we speak. So he's either going to pitch it left, though. He's going to carry on and put a lap time on the board. Michael Diaz across the line. Does that register? It hasn't as of yet, so I think that's been disallowed due to track limits as we hit 0 on the timer for the 10-minute qualifying session. Session is at an end. Michael Diaz and Andy Page, the two drivers, one of it in each respective class, did not set a lap time. But here is your grid for round 7. 35 minutes around the Interlagos circuit beckons. Miguel Vigo will start from pole position ahead of Max Muir. Eric Nickens and Stephen McDonald will round out row 2. Flo Dams and Mobin Khan round out row 3. Zach Hebert and Zachary Deus round out the top 8, with Michael Diaz rounding out 9th in the LMP3 class. Aidan Young gives his championship push another little bit of a move forward, thanks to his pole position. He'll have Arnaud Genest and Garrett Maines closely behind him in the McLaren and the Mercedes. Then we go to the next row of the grid, which will be, we'll have Ayrton Williams and Gregory Hoverson, Adam Brockway and Christian Muniz round out row 8. Gabriel Gutierrez, Michael Terrafina, row 9, with Adam Ostrich and Peter Merler rounding out the top 20. Jerome Berthiaume, Roy Brown, Barry Sessoms and Andy Page round out the 24-strong total grid. 9 LMP3s, 15 GT4s, and everyone is starting to ready up on the grid. Of course, one thing we have to remind you of, the weather is kept at a realistic variance for all races. Rolling start for both classes, 45% fuel limit for LMP3s, 35% for GT4s. And a big thank you to Vero Motion, Purple Sector's driver training and coaching courses, and RDOC's setup shop for their continued support of the Sportscar Association Americas season. And there we have pretty much everyone ready to go. It will be the LMP3s that will be released first, and then the GT4s will then be released a little bit further behind as Max Muir decides, yeah, I'm gonna merge with the pace car.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
Yeah, he goes and checks out the inside here. It'll be the day they put that pace car as a solid object. Will be the day that's going to catch everybody out. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. However, it's going to be a rather fine display of LMP3 and GT4 racing here. So as I said, we've got Nürburgring Grand Prix, Detroit Grand GP at Belle Isle, and full course at Mid-Ohio to round off the 10-week season. But Interlagos is the biggest, toughest challenge alongside Spa-Francorchamps. These drivers will chase, expect high closing speeds, last dash overtakes, more to the point, some great side-by-side, wheel-to-wheel racing. Interlagos always has that je ne sais quoi about it, that it factor, doesn't it, JP?
Yeah, it's one of them circuits where all of a sudden, if it just wants to shut down with rain, it might do. You never know. We'll see if we can get it here, but it's going to be very, very exciting here, and I'm looking forward to this. I'd be interested to see how the LMP3s handle it. 9 of them on the circuit, so they've got to be careful. Right,
okay. Porsche pace car will peel in at turn number 15. Akipa Candras, the bleachers here at Interlagos, as we are primed, set and ready. 35 minutes on the timer at Interlagos for round 7 out of 10 of the Sportscar Association Americas Championship. The red lights are on, and now the green flag waves. We are underway here at Interlagos. Good start by Miguel Vigo. Max Muir keeps to the outside of the centre S's, goes round to the outside, wheel to wheel for the first couple of exchanges, down into the centre S's, and then into Curva del Sol. Miguel Vigo takes the initial lead, but Maximilian Muir right on his rear bumper in the slipstream at over 125 miles an hour. Pulls to the left, the right-hand side, into down the Reto Aposta, into the Cida de Lago. And meantime, the GT4s have already gotten underway. Aidan Young leads the way ahead of Arnaud Genest, Garrett Maines in P3, Gregory Hoverson and Ayrton Williams round out your top 5. Jerome Berthiaume and Roy Brown have got an early good start. They've already made up 2 places apiece. But Arnaud Genest hounding Aidan Young, Gregory Hoverson looking up the inside of Garrett Maines. Meantime, the McLaren and Gabriel Gutierrez looking to dive up the inside into the Cida de Lago from 9th position, but unable to get through so far.
Yeah, action all the way through. Roy Brown's on the racetrack as well. He's got Jerome in behind him at the moment. Both men there from Solpat Precision Racing Gold. Oh, big old slide from Ostrich. There's a big old slide from Peter Muller. Muller's gone round facing the wrong way there, unfortunately, for Peter Muller. He's now going to have to try and join on to the back end. Miguel Vigo survived his lap, but I can tell you now, it wasn't a comfortable survival. It was very, very hard. He had Maximilian Muir pushing him all the way through. We had McDonald pushing him. He had Eric Nickens, Flo Darms in there. It's going to be very interesting here to see how these guys handle this.
Zach Hebert and Mobin Khan are right down at the back end of the LMP3 field. Mobin Khan losing 3 places, Zach Hebert losing 1 as Vigo is really being under pressure. And it's a 3-wide moment into the centre S's. Let's just pick this apart. Mobin Khan up the inside, clatters in. Oh, he turns around. Zach Hebert second in the championship in LMP3. He goes around through the second half of turn 1.
Yeah, he just, for Mobin Khan, he didn't keep it close, and unfortunately for him, it went and all a little bit Pete Tongan sideways there for Mobin Khan. He's going to have to try and catch back up here. He's got Zach Hebert in front of him, so they're kind of hoping to use each other. They should be just coming into the top end of the picture. They're just out of picture reach at the moment, but you can see here Vigo still under pressure for Maximilian Muir. Then Aidan Young in behind in the GT4s. He's leading the way with Guinness and Manners in behind that. Hoverson there as well, and then a 1.5 second gap to Elton Williams, who's got Brockway tucked in, well, literally there.
Up is inside into SA, and that's going to open the door, possibly going through to Pinarino. That's a great move there by Brockway, getting through. A little bit of compromisation for Gutierrez and the McLaren down in P8 as they go through this tight section, which includes Pinarino, Bicotipato, Mercuro and Junsao. So again, another set of corners that you've really got to muscle your way around to carry the momentum through, and Brockway trying to break the deadlock over Ayrton Williams. Quite funny of Ayrton having the same name as a 3-time Formula 1 world champion who finally got his victory with McLaren while stuck in 6th gear. Of course, we are talking about the late great Ayrton Senna, but we ride on board now with Williams trying to close in at high speed. Twin turbo V8s under both bonnets of these 2 respective cars. Williams getting really frisky behind him, looking to sweep to the outside into turn 1. Wheel to wheel, this could really open up the door for Williams going into the second part of the centre S's, but he does make a little bit of a hash of it.
Yeah, he ran in a little bit deep into 1 that put him offline for 2, and then 3 got a little bit close there. The Mercedes nearly, unfortunately for Brockway, nearly copped a big old back end of Aston Martin straight into him there. There's a very looming Gutierrez in that McLaren. He's looking very quick indeed. Menendez in front, Williams in front, Brockway, and then they've got 3 seconds up the road to Hoverson, who is literally putting mains under pressure with Guinness and Aidan Young. Going up into the LMP3s at the moment, Vigo and Maximilian Muir pulling away from Nickens, from McDonald, all there. These guys battling it out with float arms in their Diaz as well. So there are gaps starting to appear, but they've just got to make sure it's very mindful and try and keep up with the guys in front, because they don't really want to give away too much.
Yeah, we're nearly a 7th of the way through 35 minutes, so we come to 5 minutes completed out of 35. Miguel Vigo leads the way in LMP3. Aidan Young leads in GT4 as we're running aboard with Stephen McDonald, the man who is currently leading the LMP3 driver standings, coming into this 7th round of the championship as he's trying to battle away with Eric Nick and Zach Hebert. The Echelon Sim Sport LMP3 driver currently P2 behind this man here in the standings, trying to make a return to the sharper end of the field. He's just started to show intent by setting the fastest lap of the race on lap 3, 1:29.126. Yeah, Aidan Young, Arnaud Jeunesse, Garrett Mains, Gregory Hoverson split by a second, then it's 3.5 seconds back. The GT4 battle back to Adam Brockway. So things are starting to heat up here in South America, as Interlagos always brings a firework or 2 to the party.
Oh, it does, because Guinness and Hoverson have just had a swap of places. Guinness has just gone through in that McLaren. Hoverson's there, Mains is in front. Then Aidan Young, who's trying to get away from these guys. These guys carry on fighting. Young's going to be up the road. They're side by side in the back there. Williams, and also that was, I believe it was Brockway Brockway in front, and then Williams tucked in behind. But Guinness and Hoverson again running side by side here. They're not leaving each other alone. Coming up now into the right-hander. Is he going to be able to hold on? Oh, they're going to squeeze. They're going to squeeze. It's going to be interesting for the McLaren now, because Guinness is going to have the inside for that run down through Mugello. It made no difference whatsoever. Coming into Juncao, they open it up, and on the run up they go again.
Yeah, so through into Magulo, Christian Hoverson gets the move done on Arnaud Genest for P3. So now the McLaren will start fighting back at the Mercedes. Of course, different powertrain variations. The V8 turbocharged engine in the back end of that car in the mid part of it, whereas in the Mercedes it's on the front end. So it's going to help with braking and keep the centre of gravity under braking more towards the front end of the vehicle, and keep the nose ducking down a little bit further than what you would see in the mid-engine McLaren just behind. So great battling here for the top four in GT4. Barry Sessoms has dropped down to 14th position. Andy Page still running tail end of the back end of the field, but Zach Hebert is really picking up the pace. Looking at the lap times, he's taken over a second out of Zachary Deus in the last couple of laps. So Zach Hebert has got that gap down between 7th and 8th to less than 4.95 seconds. So he's going to have a little bit of a recovery drive as the 511 for Echelon Simsport LMP3, and whether he can make the best of it. Max Muir, however, has set the fastest overall lap of the race so far on lap 5 on a 1:28.844. Miguel Vigo matching him pretty much on lap times as we see this battle here as Ayrton Williams finally has got through on Adam Brockway in the number 42 Mercedes-Benz for the Mirandas M Squad DMR group. Of course, Mirandas, the team run by Daniel Morad, who we did have with us at Road Atlanta, and unfortunately, well, he's been very, very busy at the moment with Winwood Racing in real life. Of course, the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa-Francorchamps have just recently had their testing days completed at the iconic circuit, where we did actually venture on the virtual perspective back on round 4 on the 24th of April. But Williams now starting to break away from Brockway. Gutierrez right on the number 42's rear wing.
Yeah, he's tucked up right behind him at the moment there as well. You can see him coming towards you. Pulls out on the right-hand side. Is he going to be able to get through here for Gutierrez? Well, they're going to run side by side at the moment. Gutierrez does manage to hold on and get past Brookway there. Menezes in behind him with Terrafino as well. These guys continue to fight in this GT4 class. We've got to pick up on what's going on up front because they've started to go through traffic. Muir out in front. Vigo tucked in behind, and there's a very slow Mercedes there.
Yeah, I think that might have been possibly Roy Brown. Well, no, it was one of the Mercedes. I think it might have been one of the Solpec ones, probably Jerome Berthiaume, who's dropped down to 14th. Run on board with Miguel Vigo as they are going to get past the one of the Solpec Porsches. I think that's Peter Moller. They've just got through the 997. But Maximilian Muir has managed to get his way through. Stephen McDonald, oh, he's had big old dramas. He's in the pits. Now, as Stephen McDonald, our championship leader, hit drama, because that indicates to me he's had damage.
We'll have a look back at that and see what McDonald's been up to here. Oh, he isn't the only one by the looks of it.
So this is coming out of the Senna S's into Curva de Sol. Oh, now was there a little bit of a clip on Andy Page's right front? Oh, there's the contact. And there's an LMP3 on its roof, and that would have been Zachary Deus.
Wow.
Oh, right, let's watch the onboard. Unsighted, bang.
Does he flip that car back over, or does it stay there? Oh no, he goes straight back to pit lane. Wow.
That was a hard hit. Hard hit there.
I do wonder whether or not there was contact before that, though, for Stephen McDonald. Whether or not there was literal contact on before that, with the fact of this this GT4.
Yeah, so he's gone around the outside of Andy Page. Oh, there was the tightest clip, right front to left rear. Everyone scrambles, and yeah, that
happens.
Well, that's even more vital looking at it from the helicam. So what this has done?
Don't do that! Oh my Jesus Christ, Vigo!
That's what they're having.
In the eye of the needle.
And that was on Gutierrez and Brockway, who are battling over position P6 in GT4.
Oh, there's a Mercedes right
Brockway's round.
Yeah.
Brockway's round. Oh no. Right, okay, let's see. Let's pick this one apart. He goes wheel to wheel. Gutierrez squeezes into the outside. He's going to rotate it through the corner, loses it on the curbing, and it spins around like a good one. And he keeps out of the way.
Yeah, he went in far too quick there. Unfortunately, he was not going to be able to get that slowed down enough for Brockway, and he's now just gone round. We've talked about the Mercedes before. We've talked about how you've got to treat it. We've talked about you've got to be nice to her. She wasn't going to like that whatsoever. You can see these LMP3s whizzing around the outside. That's your two leaders, Vigo and Muir. They're running side by side. Well, nose to tail, I should say, at the moment. Coming into the left-hander. Are they going to be able to clear at least one of these? They do.
Yeah, they get through on Garrett Hayes. Aidan Young, the GT4 leaders right in front of them. Oh my giddy aunt, what on earth? The thing is that Vigo is now... Now, the thing is, with that damage that Stephen McDonald has suffered, I don't think that car's going to take any further part in that race. Has been in for over 3¼ minutes in pit lane. I think that damage could be terminal for Stephen McDonald because that was hit square on, nose to nose, head on. So that means now Miguel Vigo is holding the flag of pride high for old men of Gio, and Maximilian Muir is going to have to do everything he can in this Ulprec Precision Racing LMP3. These are all the same car, the JSP 320, powered by the Nissan VK56 V8, pushing around 460 brake horsepower, and the gap between them hasn't been any more than, I think, half a second. Vigo has got an opportunity. He's in the slipstream, in down the start-finish straight into the centre S's gap, just over 0.17. They go into the braking zone. Vigo's just got to pick his moment here. Could get a good run coming out of Curva de Sol, and if he does so, let's see if he can close that gap down the Rezzo Aposta. Turns 3 and turn 4 at the opening point of Descida del Lago. Gap still 2/10. He really needs to be a little bit closer, but it's about picking your moments as we are nearly 15 minutes of the way through this 35-minute adventure. Still got 21 minutes going into the unknown, so to speak, but Miguel Vigo really trying to put the frighteners on Maximilian Muir, who is soaking up the pressure like a sponge at the moment, not really giving Vigo an inch, and neither is the latter taking a mile.
No, he's just basically, as you say, he's sitting there comfortably, Alex. Muir knows what's coming in behind. It's whether or not Vigo is going to go for it. We've got 14 minutes coming up to 15 minutes shortly gone in the race, and Vigo's sat in behind at the moment. Now, whether or not Vigo is really kind of pushing this situation, is he doing a little bit of fuel saving? Does he want to go a little bit longer? To be honest, I don't think Vigo has kind of got that repertoire in him. I think he's more likely to be wanting to go and push and use that fuel he has got. He wants to get past Muir. He wants to make a move forward. I don't think he's going to be settling in here, but I just don't think at the moment he's quite got the pace in that final sector.
Yeah, I think you can be right there, and sometimes just by holding back a little bit, you can save that extra litre or so of fuel that can make all the difference by going one lap longer. Mobin Khan has now pitted. Michael Diaz started at the back end of the field. He's now fourth. Eric Nickens, fastest lap of the race, 1:28.797. As both... Muir was very, very wide coming out of turn 5 from Descida del Lago there, and so was Vigo. And Vigo is just trying to... I think his strategy could be to stick with him as best you can, and when he decides to pit, and see if he makes a mistake, because now it's getting a little bit, let's say, haphazard. But one of the big things now, folks, look what's coming. We've gone from sunshine at the beginning of the race. We have now cloud cover, headlights on. What does that say to me? Well, there's no possible rain on the radar at the minute, but who's not to say? Remember Gilles Villeneuve, the opening round of the season. We started under dry conditions. We then went to full wet, then torrential. People skating on the ice rink with slick tyres. There could be a hint of rain in the air, but whether it falls is anyone's guess.
Yeah, remember that with Hoverson losing that 20-odd second lead, spitting out about 4 times on the final lap. Vigo again He's had the option to go for it here. I think with Maximilian Muir, it was looking that terminology of untidy. Vigo's going to have a run. He's surely got to think about this now. He can't be continuing to sit there. Muir is looking a little bit scraggly at the moment. Vigo pulls out. He's on the right-hand side of your picture, coming down into the left-hander now. Vigo does go through. That was coming, Alex, and I'm surprised he didn't make the most of it a little bit earlier on in the previous lap, where Muir was looking a little bit untidy. If Muir wants to take this back, he's got to tidy up what he's been doing, because at the moment it's a little bit raggedy.
That's the thing with racing drivers of the caliber of Miguel Vigo. They will wait until the last moment to strike whilst the iron's hot, and because of the fact that Max Muir was making so many unforced errors because he was being hounded and pressurised by the number 62, it was only a matter of case of not if, it was a case of when would Miguel Vigo get through. And he did that on lap number 11, down through Curva de Sol and into Reta Aposta, before the run into Descida de Lagos. So, Vigo now is starting to pull away. So, Maximilian Muir for Solpec Racing is now starting to tidy up his game, but he should have been a little bit tidy with that before Miguel Vigo had the opportunity of clawing that gap back. By corner, not by sector, corner by corner. And it's those hundreds, it's those thousands of a second that really can pay dividends. But meantime, we've had a change for the race lead, because Wigan Water Technologies' Garrett Mains has got through on WSR Esports butt kickers Aidan Young, and this is how he did it. Look, going into turn 1 at the Esta Senna, and you can just see that Garrett Mains is positioning the car to make Aidan Young feel a little bit more under pressure, and that was very, very clean between the pair. Side by side out of turn 3 at Curva de Sol, inside line for Garrett Mains, and into turn 4 in the Interlagos. There was a hip check between the pair, but it's when Mains decided to turn the steering in, and now we've got the top 4 in a line. Mains, Young, Hoverson and Jeunesse. So, and here comes an LMP3. That's Moment Khan trying to split the ball. So we've got 3 Mercs and a McLaren battling away over the race lead. And there goes Aidan Young up the inside, taking full opportunity of Moment Khan. Garrett Mains runs wide, going through turn 5. Hoverson up the inside for Apex Racing Academy. And now it's going to be the run down. They are swapping paint. Mains and Hoverson. Hoverson does not need to be that aggressive. He does not need to be that aggressive. He's still going to hang around the outside of Ferradura, but he's going to lose out. He slots in behind Garrett Mains. There's more contact. Aidan Young gets compromised, and this is paying dividends for Arnaud Jeunesse.
Yeah, Jeunesse has got from the back of the group to the front. They're almost here as well. Hoverson pushed Mains into Young, and he just punted him a little bit forward, just pushed him off the line a little bit here. Jeunesse said, thank you very much, I'll have them 2 spots while you guys carry on fighting. So that's what he's done. That's how he's moved his way forward, and now he's going to carry on trying to get over in front of that as well with Garrett Mains. But Jeunesse capitalised on them guys having a little bit of an elbow check.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too much. I mean, in that terms of close proximity, you've got to be given that racing room and racing respect. But in the meantime, Garrett Mains for Wigan Water Technologies leads, but Arnaud Jeunesse closing in the McLaren 570 GT4. Pulls to the outside here at turn 1. That's not going to work at the moment. That could open the door for Aidan Young. Jeunesse turns into the apex at turn 1, through turn 2. Now into the sweeping left at Curva de Sol. Through onto the Reta Aposta, just under 15 minutes to go, and Garrett Mains pulls to the left-hand side. He's covering off Jeunesse at the moment to see what Jeunesse might do. Jeunesse, if he decides to be brave enough, could have thrown it round the outside, but decided discretion being the better part of valor. And the WSR Esports butt kicker Mercedes of Aidan Young is back there again. Now through on the run up to Ferradura. This could open the door up for the Mercedes in 3rd position, and that is going to do the case. But then into La Regina they go. Jeunesse goes off, Hoverson goes off, Young up the inside, now into the right, into Pedrinho at turn 9. Jeunesse has the inside line, and it's going to be the inside line for Bica de Bato, and it's going to go in the favour of Aidan Young in the 427. And the Mercedes goes back up the inside into Magulo, and there's the move completed. Well played, Aidan Young. Nice, neat calm, composed.
Yeah, they've swapped places over that cycle more than 10 times here over that lap. It was just backwards and forwards, and now Mains is going again. Young's a little bit wide coming out as Young Cal. Mains is going to tuck in right behind him at the moment. He's got his nose there. He's going to try the outside line again. Is he going to swap back here? No, Young blocks him off. Now Young's going to want to hug the wall. Mains says, I'm not having this. Him and Hoverson in pit lane.
And Hoverson was lastminute.com jinking into that pit lane. So Mains and Young are going to stretch it out for, I would say, another lap. We have had a couple of pit stops in LMP3. Flo Darms and Mobin Khan have come into the pit. So we've got Genest, Hoverson, Gutierrez and Brown for GT4 in pit road at the moment. Also along with them.
Oh, it's going to be a race.
That's Hoverson. Hoverson might get the jump on Genest. No, he doesn't. Genest nips up the inside. That was cheekily done by the McLaren, but that just makes sure that he keeps in front. Eric Nickens now pits from LMP3, from P5, as now these drivers will filter in, and they are behind Adam Brockway.
Oh, Hoverson had to get that job done. Sorry, he was going in the inside of Ostrich. He knew that Ostrich hadn't pitted. He had to go, and he did go, but boy, oh boy, was it close there as well. He needs to stay with Genest. It's going to be... the LMP3 are behind.
That was Max Muir.
Oh, dear, he tried to force a move. Hoverson was in the middle of trying to get one done as well, and defend from Ostrich because he knew he had to. And Muir there nearly took him out.
That was so close, going I think through into turn 7 at La Regina, and then into turn 8 at Essay. So Max Muir got a bit of fright. He had the very curvy rear end of that Mercedes of Hoverson right in front of him. Had to slam on the anchors. Mains, Young, Williams and Moniz have all pitted in GT4s. So at the moment, Moller and Brockway, Ostrich and Page and Berthiaume yet to pit in GT4s. Vigo, Muir, Diaz, Hebert and, well, are the only drivers yet to pit. Zach Deus and Stephen McDonald are not going to be taking any further participation.
Keep an eye on the back. Keep an eye on the back. They're coming.
Oh dear, this could be very close indeed. That's Genest. And he's going to be at full racing speed. These two are going to have to accelerate as hard as they can. Mains gets ahead, Young gets ahead, Gutierrez stays ahead of Hoverson and has got nearly a 1.25 second gap ahead of the Apex Racing Academy driver in the number 15. So good work by Genest to pip Hoverson out of pit lane, get a little bit of distance between himself and the number 15 Mercedes, as Vigo and Muir still the only two drivers yet to pit in the field. Everyone else has pitted. Jerome Berthiaume has been in the 217 for over 30 seconds, so that would indicate that there is damage to the 217 Solpec Precision Racing Gold Mercedes. And now after nearly 40 seconds, he comes out of pit lane. Stone dead last in GT4 in 15th. So, well, this is where the race really starts to begin. But the biggest thing is that Zach, now get this for a recovery drive, Zach Hebert is only 3.2 seconds behind Eric Nickens, and more to the point, Miguel Vigo and Max Muir are still out at the moment. They have yet to pit, and they're on lap number 18 of this race. So it depends on how quickly they affect their stops. Nickens was in the pit on his marks for 7.25 seconds. Let's not forget the exit part of the pit lane here at Interlagos is quite lengthy. You have the opportunity of gathering speed once you get past the main pit building.
Yeah, they've got that downhill. They can use that sweepers to pick pace up if they can. These guys are going to be closing in on each other now. Aiden Young trying to put Mains under pressure. Genest really needs them. The problem was for Genest and Hoverson, it wasn't the pit stop, it wasn't the entry, it wasn't the lane time. It was where the where they came out, unfortunately, it was alongside Adam Ostrich. It was in front of Maximilian Muir, and they just lost time there. That was where it happened for the two of them. It wasn't anything else. Their lanes, they're fine. Everything else was fine. It was all in and around 33 seconds, and it was literally coming out of pit lane right into that traffic of Ostrich. Maximilian Muir didn't really help the situation either in the LMP3. So unfortunately, these guys are playing catch up at the moment, partly due to the fact they have lost that time. Michael Diaz has got Zach Hubert tucked in right behind him. The leaders finally in pit lane here. It's going to be a race off pit lane again. Who's going to get the Maximilian Muir or Miguel Vigo? They're coming in onto their marks. The 3 and 4 are coming up the hill at the moment. Have they managed to stay in front? You can see they're right in front of us currently at this moment in time as well. Is Miguel Vigo. Eric Nickens is on his way up for the run. They're on their way out. Vigo managed to stay in front with Muir first. How far back is Nickens? He's not really coming into turn 1. It's going to be Vigo Muir running to the end.
And the gap between them coming out of the pit lane is just under 0.3 of a second. There we see the class leaders in GT4 not too far behind them, but the key point is it's 8.5 seconds between Max Muir and Eric Nickens, as Mains, Young and Janest are embroiled in a battle that covers them by about 1.5 seconds. We've got coming up to 7 minutes to go, and Miguel Vigo and Max Muir now battle for the race victory here in round 7 out of 10 for season number 2 of the Sportscar Association Americas here in the LMP3 category. And they go down into Regulo, then into Junsao one more time on lap number 19 of this race, and hard on the brakes they go into Junsao at turn 12. Now accelerate up the gearbox, 3rd gear, 4th, and they've got Jerome Berthion just to get through on 140 miles an hour. Now going through into Alquibacandas at the bleachers, 153, 154 miles an hour, 5th gear. Now hard on the brakes, down to 2nd, 60 miles an hour, turn through the left, then into the right, accelerating through into 3rd, 110 miles an hour on the apex, coming out of the Curva de Sol. But at the moment, I think Miguel Vigo just has the measure of Maximilian Muir. Meantime, Garrett Mains from Wigan Water Technologies versus WSR Esports Butt Kickers. Aidan Young battling away for the race lead in GT4 out of Curva de Sol. Again, Mains using the defensive tactic of staying down on the left-hand side of Reto Foster, but a dummy and a half there from Aidan Young. He dives to the inside of turn number 4. The pair wheel to wheel. They're nearly swapping paint, but Aidan Young just about makes it through. They've got Ferradura coming up next, which will be a right-hander. That'll go in the favour of Garrett Mains. And then it's another right-hander here at La Regina. Turn 7 into turn 8. Little bit of a squeeze between the pair. No contact made. Through into SA. Garrett Mains holds on.
Yeah, the LMP3 trying to go through the outside here as well. He's got to try and thread the eye of the needle through the middle. He does make it work, the LMP there, but Mains and also Young. But watch Guinness, he's closing in every time these fight or every time these get held up. Guinness is bringing that time down, 1.3 seconds at the moment. Another LMP3 go diving up the inside. Aidan Young again going for it. On the run up now, up through Subido, the box is going to be side by side once more. The inside does favour Young. He's going to have that shorter route. Mains knows this. He's got to stay alongside him coming in through Center S's here, because if he can get the exit on the inside, he will be able to make the apex on the other side. So it's going to be vitally imperative that Mains breaks later. He's gone for that long sweeping entry here, Garrett Mains. He needs to be there. He isn't getting there. Guinness coming in now, below a second for Arnold Guinness. These two are still continuing to fight, and Guinness is saying, roll on boys, because I'm coming, and every time you scrap, I'm bringing that 10th in.
Yeah, that gap now between 2nd and 3rd in GT4 is now under 0.7 of a second, as we have just under 4 minutes remaining. Garrett Mains runs a little bit wide coming out of turn number 4 through Interlagos. and then through into T5, now into the triple right here at Ferradura, La Regina and Esse. Turn 6 to 8 before Pinheirino, the left-hander, which is slightly downhill at turn 9 before they go back up the incline up to Pico de Pato at turn 10 before Mergulo at turn 11, Chungsao at turn 12, and then through the fast triple right. That's 13, 14 and 15 through the boxes, and Kibakandas at the bleachers. But Garrett Mains is doing everything in his power to keep within that 0.3 of a second window behind Aidan Young. We're now on to lap number 21 of this race at this moment in time. 19 when you compare it with regards to the GT4s, but Garrett Mains starting to use the slipstream. Can he close that gap? It's closing in. Make that about 0.2 of a second. Look how close Garrett Mains and Aidan Young got to the wall through turn number 15. Garrett Mains has really closed in, and he's going to dive late to the inside at turn 1 at the centre S's. And Garrett Mains is still going to keep that window of opportunity. He still has got it done. Brilliant stuff. Garrett Mains returns the favour here on lap number 19. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, Ganes is only 7/10 back at the moment as well. Couple of closing battles coming in LMP3. Michael Diaz and Eric Nickens are not far away. Ganes is now closing in 6/10. Do you know what here, Alex? I can just see something happening here. They've been very close. They've had door-to-door. They've had banging on the sides. And I can see Ganes just going, thank you. I'll take both of them. And I think it's looking more and more likely with a few minutes left on the clock. They're going to have one and one more. Vigo goes over the line with 2 minutes remaining. Yeah, I can see Ganes getting this if need be.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire. I mean, yeah, Arnaud Gineste is the dark horse here in the top 3 battle in the GT4, but the skill required and the skill set showcased by both Garrett Mains and Aidan Young, it's going to be interesting to have the conversation with them in the post-race interview show. But it has been a battle of titans between these two. Now, Aidan Young has been the most successful GT4 driver in this series so far, but Garrett Mains will want to start building that confidence, that momentum towards the season finale at Mid-Ohio. And if he can do it here, as we've got just over a minute to go, Garrett Mains has got to hold on. He's got to do everything he can. I mean, this 4.3 kilometre 15-turn circuit, which in its current variation is the 5th variation since 1999 that the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache has had, since it was opened back in May of 1940. But again, you can just see that Garrett Mains is making one move. He's not being stupid. He's being quite strategic here to keep Aidan Young close to him. There is Miguel Vigo. Now, we're going to have one more lap because we've completed lap number 23 in this race. Miguel Vigo effectively goes on to the 24th and final lap of this race. We're on lap 21 for the GT4s, and Garrett Mains is soaking up the pressure from Aidan Young. Arnaud Gineste is like the shark waiting in the background. The Jaws music starting to burn into my eardrums at the moment as we speak. We hit 35 minutes on the timer. So that is it in terms of normal time. We're now into sudden death, so to speak, with regards to final lap, and more to the point, well, Garrett Mains is going to have to spend another 4.309 kilometres. That's a shade under 2.7 miles to keep Aidan Young at bay for the GT4 class win. Meantime, Miguel Vigo is making his way through, I think, into turn 10 at the moment. But it's Mains versus Young, with Gineste waiting in the wings to pick up the pieces if anything happens here on this final lap for the GT4s. But Young is giving everything. He's throwing everything at the playbook, including the kitchen sink at the number 1 Wigan Water Technologies Mercedes in front of him. But Garrett Mains looks unflappable at the moment down to Retta Aposta for the final time. Again, Garrett Mains goes over to the left-hand side, and he did it. Now, that was strategic, but out of the final corner, Miguel Vigo picks up his first win in sports car Association America history this season. Max Muir takes P2, but we concentrate now on the battle for the GT4 class lead, which then will invariably head to the victory here in Interlagos. And Garrett Maines doing everything he needs to. Aidan Young going a little bit deeper on the brakes. Now into Pico de Pato for the last time. I think it's going to be a run to the line here. This could be a photo finish, JP.
Yeah, it could be. I think it's going to be all three of them. Ganesh is not far back. If he can get a little bit closer coming in for Jungao, it's going to be a run to the line for all three. Young's going to dive up the inside. Ganesh needs this. He needs it. Here he comes. He's got the clear run. Arnold Ganesh sitting in behind him. This is what we said would happen. Now it's going to be the run down to the line. Is Maines going to be able to hold this? Ganesh is not really playing with the draft at the moment. He can't get there. He's going to get this second place. It's going to be Garrett Maines. It's going to be Arnold Ganesh. It's going to be Aidan Young, just in that order. We said Ganesh is going to come through. He did come through. He just grabbed that second place as well, and he needed Aidan Young to go for it. He wanted Aidan Young to go for it, and guess what? Aidan Young gave it to him on a plate.
That silver platter was handed out with both hands eagerly outstretched, but you know what a way to finish things off. And let's just have a look. Okay, so we go into Reto Aposta. Garrett Maines. Now, this is where the chain reaction starts. A little bit of a hip check there. Into turn 4. Runs Aidan a little bit wide. Through into 5. Now, this is where things start heating up. So, Aidan Young gets a little bit of a slipstream going into Ferradura. And then you can just see how much tighter on the apexes Aidan Young is. He's really throwing everything at it. Especially going into Ferradura. Takes a little bit of a wide line into La Regina and then into Esse. Down into Pedrinho. A little bit deeper on the brakes there. You can see that the car was only half a car length behind. But then it goes into Pico de Pato and then down into Meragulo. Now this is where it really starts kicking off. Because Meragulo, and then it's the run into Jungsao. Now this is where Aidan Young decides, right, if I'm not going to do it now, I'm never going to do it. He dives to the inside. Clash between the pair sends Young sideways, and here goes Arnaud Jeunesse with the slipstream. He hasn't got enough for a double toe here, but he's going to use the side drop. Maines knows that this is pretty much his on a plastic because he knows that Jeunesse is going to give Young some grief. Maines keeps it close to the wall. Jeunesse squeezes Young, and thereby, by just over a tenth, loses out to Garrett Maines in that race. But what can you say? I knew it was going to be a photo finish, but I was wondering if it was going to be 3 wide across the line. Let's just have a look at this again.
We would have been 3 wide. There was a move there from Maines. Watch Maines go to the left there. He knew he had to because he knew that if Ganesh stayed right in behind him, Ganesh was going to get him. And he would have got him if Maines had given him that draft. And he didn't. He moved over to the left-hand side. And that move was imperative, Alex. He had to do that because if he didn't, Ganesh was coming. And Ganesh was coming fast as well.
Well, what can we say? There are your race results by adjusted times. 9/100ths of a second was the difference between first and second after 22 laps for the GT4s. Garrett Maines for Wigan Water Technologies picks up the victory ahead of Arnaud Jeunesse. Aidan Young rounds out the top 3. They were covered by just under 0.18 of a second. And then a little bit further back, 2.4 seconds back, Gregory Hoverson finishing 4th. Ayrton Williams doing his first name proud here, finishing 5th ahead of teammate Christian Menezes in the number 55, the Satellite Racing pair rounding out the top 6. Gabriel Gutierrez, Adam Brockway, Roy Brown and Peter Muller rounding out the top 10. Michael Terrafino for Team Beef in 11th ahead of Adam Ostrich, Andy Page, Barry Sessoms and Jerome Berthiaume all making it to the checkered flag. Miguel Vigo picks up his first win despite dramas for Stephen McDonald. And how is that going to affect the battle between Stephen and Zach Hebert, who rounds out the top 5 in this one, having an early scare courtesy of Mobin Khan on the opening tour. Maximilian Muir did lead at one point, but finished second best, 1.5 seconds off. Eric Nickens taking P3. Michael Diaz 4th. starting from the back end of the field ahead of Zach Hebauer. Mobin Khan Floyd Dams with Zachary Deus and Stephen McDonald after a head-on collision coming out of Curva de Sol on lap 5 meant that both of them would end up not taking any further part in that race. Well, I think we've got to start with some post-race interviews. And, well, let's first of all start off with our race winner. Let's see if we can bring him in. So, Miguel Vigo. Miguel, well, finally, my good friend, you've got a win.
Yeah, it's good to be on the top step of the podium, finally.
A bit of a shame for Stephen, though, because there was that big incident coming out of turn 3 between him and I think Zach Deus, which meant that Stephen was in the pits with big damage to the front of his LMP3. So you had to carry the mantle of Old Men of Geo, and it was a great battle between you and Maximilian Muir right up until, I think it was right up until the pit lane stages. You guys were feeding your way through traffic. There were times when I think there were sharp intakes of breath, I think from James more than me, when you were threading the eye of the needle. But what a circuit Interlagos is, huh?
Yeah, it's a great circuit. It's one of my favorites. To be honest, I didn't know I was gonna do that well tonight. I kind of just jumped in at the last second. I've been, just a little bit sick for the last 2 weeks, so I didn't know if I was gonna have the energy to kind of fight up there. And kind of luckily, because we've ran this track in Ivra before, the muscle memory starts to kick in, and so it was all kind of coming together. I did have a little bit of trouble there. I think it was maybe lap 5 or 6, going into turn, I think 3 or 4, the left-hander, and I just had to, let Max go by, and I kind of decided to try and save a little bit of fuel. And then after that, kind of when I got in my groove again, it's when I decided to pass him and see if I could check out.
And, well, you did check out, not by much, but still it was a victory nonetheless by just over 1.5 seconds. But yeah, it's a very demanding track, Interlagos, especially as you say you've been under the weather for the last couple of weeks. But at least it's good to have you finally on victory lane. We've got 3 other interesting tracks coming up. We've got Nürburgring next week, Detroit, and then we've got Mid-Ohio. Those 3 tracks are going to provide their own different set of challenges, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've ran in Nürburgring or Detroit. I'm not a big fan of Detroit. I do love Mid-Ohio, so I think I'll do fairly well there. But yeah, Detroit, I don't know about that one. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Brilliant. Well, Miguel, congratulations on the W tonight. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just my team, Hydro Race, Geodesic, like always. Guys always put in, the time to get these setups going and stuff like that for the weeks. All our sponsors, GSI, Hydro Race, and you guys, of course, for the broadcast, Amazing broadcast. Always love watching it. And that's pretty much it.
Brilliant, Miguel. Well, we'll see you next week at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit for round 8 out of 10. Congratulations on the victory here tonight.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
So a big thank you there to Miguel. Let's see. You know what? Let's bring this man in. Finally, Garrett Mains has picked up a win in GT4. It was a hard-fought, close-quarter encounter, but Garrett Mains from Wigan Water Technologies, how close was that at the finish? You played the perfect strategy.
Yeah, I mean, there at the end, I knew I had to cover off every opportunity for Aiden because we'd kind of both shown our cards at this point. I passed him using his move, and I did not want to let him do the same thing back to me a second time. So, I had to go pretty defensive on that last lap, and that brought Arnaud into the fight. But I was kind of surprised by his late lunge there into the final kink. I felt like that was, not a really good decision, and probably was going to, potentially take us both out. But when I saw the opportunity to draft the McLaren, I didn't want the McLaren to catch me, but I knew all I had to do was get them side by side. I'm racing Aiden for points, and I've been shafted out of few opportunities this season so far. So, I gotta put some points back between us.
I said to you, Alex, that he moved. Did you come up that back straight? You saw that McLaren in behind you, and you instantly made a left turn there to give the draft to Aidan and pull him alongside. I thought it was brilliant, Garrett. I thought it was an absolutely outstanding decision, because I think if you'd have stayed there, I think Arnaud would have got you on the line.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, I know that McLaren puts like 3/10 on us down the straightaway, so I can only be so nice. He didn't really need my assistance, but I didn't want to like pull Aiden along too far to where it was, putting him 1-2. Just, I felt like he had it locked up. I felt like I was in a good spot and he was in a good spot, but the opportunity was there, and it's become a a points racing situation. I've had some opportunities to put a gap throughout the season, but unfortunately, I've had some altercations at the very end of these things. So hopefully, this is the change of momentum and the shift we need.
Yeah, I mean, it always gets a little bit more robust. Let's use that terminology, shall we, Garrett? When we get towards the end of a championship season, I mean, we've still got 3 rounds to go. We've got Nürburgring Grand Prix, Detroit, Mid-Ohio. But it is now the race to become that GT4 Season 2 champion. And I know myself and James, we both know that you're going to put every single sinew, every single ounce of energy into this to try and close that gap and maybe get the better of Aiden. But, the quality of the racing that we saw between the pair of you for a lot of the time was clean. Okay, yeah, there was a little bit of rubbings racing, as we all know. The odd hip check here or there, but that's to be expected, isn't it? Whereas you all know that you can have a diplomatic discussion afterwards and say, yeah, that was a little bit unexpected, but good try. Let's see what happens next time, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of respect for Aiden, and he's definitely earned his his first position in the championship, and he's always had the pace. Every week he shows up and he's rolling. So it's not every race that I have the opportunity to go, door to door with him. And I will say I made a mistake. I think it's entering turn 4. I just got a little bit too close and allowed for, the margin of our internet to kind of decide his fate there. And, when he got back to me, we had a little bit more contact. It was fair game. It was, we traded paint a few times, but it was all, within the, I don't know, the rules. It was fair game, and I felt like I wasn't being wronged. It was just hard racing and a little bit of elbows out. I felt like pretty much everybody up front has that mentality, except maybe one. But it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the races this season, and hopefully we can continue at the Nürburgring and all the upcoming races.
Thoughts ahead now that you've mentioned Nürburgring. How's that track for you? Is that a favorite of yours? Is that one that you enjoy racing at?
Well, I'm not going to put it up there on my my top 10, that's for sure. I will say this one is in my top 5. So to come away with a win tonight was definitely it was nice, because I felt like all the other tracks that I've been, this is the one I have not had very fortunate luck lately. So we'll see how the Nürburgring goes. I'm trying to put a GT4 team together to run the special events. So, I guess I'll have to get a little bit better at that track for that. I know it well. I just, I feel like there's a little bit of work that I can put in on it, and we'll see where it goes. I'm prepping for a race this weekend in real life, so pretty much as soon as I'm done streaming tonight, it's straight to getting ready for that.
Oh, where are you racing this time then?
I will be at VIR this time. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Hyperfest, but it is NASA's major spectator event. They do a lot of drifting. They've got road course guys that come from all over the country. It's pretty much like as close to a national event as you can get for like our regional regular season races, and it's a big deal. It's pretty much the only like spectator focused event of the year, and I think they've even got T-Pain coming out to do some drifting, so it should be a lot of fun.
Oh god, yeah, T-Pain, who's now got an association with Vaughn Gittin Jr. and RTR, because they did a recent build for him as well. So yeah, no, I hope that all goes well at VIR at Hyperfest for you. But well done on the victory. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go, Garrett?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to give a huge shout out to Wig and Water Technologies for their support this season. Finally got them a win, so definitely happy with that, and hopefully we can top it off with another one next week and maybe one this weekend as well. But also got to give a thank you to Scott at MCU Body and Linux for all their support this season.
Fantastic. Garrett Mains, welcome finally to Victory Lane here at Interlagos, and we'll see you next week at the Nürburgring for round 8.
Thank you.
So, after speaking with Garrett, we're now going to bring in our second place finisher. Could have been, it was that close to a victory. Honor Jeunesse, welcome into the booth. How close was that for a race finish?
Yeah, you doesn't get any better than this, right? Yeah, I mean, those two guys, there was gonna have a lot of fights tonight between them. Top 4 was very, very close. It was anybody's game. But yeah, I mean, in the end, Garrett and Aiden were a little bit in front. I just had to take my time, had a good exit, and try to make something happen. I really had the pace tonight. The McLaren was very good for me. But yeah, so happy to take P2. Kind of feel like a little bit like a steal, but yeah, good quality, good race. I was swarm at some point. But yeah, this track, it kind of tends to do that since the infield is so tight, so slow corners, so much slow corners, and with the traffic as well. The LMP3s are kind of trying to make their way around us. But yeah, it was good fun, and definitely got some scary moments and sweats around my neck.
James, have you got any questions for Arnold?
Dude, you were really fast going through that final corner. I think. Did you sit there and thought smart play when Garrett Mains pulled over to the left just to not make sure he didn't give you the draft run up to the line?
The last lap, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't really focusing on what they were doing, because I knew at some point, it is almost impossible to make the pass before the line, and Garrett and Aiden, they exchange some of those punches on T1, so I knew that at some point there's going to be a fight till the end, but to the very last corner. So I was only focusing on having a good exit. So not focusing at all on them, targeting, focusing my eyes on my breaking point, make sure I have the best exit possible. The McLaren really seems to have like an edge on this track, especially on that very last corner. It can be so aggressive with the throttle. I was lucky to get Aiden, but yeah, that was close to Garrett, but not close enough.
Well, unlucky, dude. It was good. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go, fella?
Yeah, thanks to my boys of Unit SimSport, always supporting me, and the wife that allows me to do these crazy races at crazy times.
Okay, man. Well, take care, buddy. We'll catch up with you next week.
All right, see you next week, guys.
Big thank you there to Arnold Jeunesse. We've got one more driver we need to pull in. It was so close for this man, but let's bring in Aiden Young coming in. Aiden, can you hear us?
I can.
Well, that was a photo finish and a half that we witnessed just a few moments ago, but it was a titanic battle between you and Garrett over the last few laps. Just talk us through it from your perspective.
About it too much. Felt like
I
I just felt a little hard done.
Hold on, mate. I've just got to turn you up. You're very, very quiet.
Oh, is that better?
Oh, blimey,
Sorry.
yes. That's a hell of a lot better.
Sorry about that. I accidentally had the mic moved away from my face. Didn't realize that. I'll repeat what I just said. I said I'd just try not talk too much about it. I felt almost a little hard done on the battle. The battle with Arnaud, though, I enjoyed that, but I just felt like we just had another flashback to Spa, and once again, I'm with the worst end of the stick.
Can I ask, do you think, though, what cost you was that last lunge into the final corner before you got the run up the hill?
I don't really think that was it. That move was on. I just
What I mean,
didn't
though,
expect
is
Garrett to turn in so aggressive.
Yeah, what I mean is if you hadn't gone for that move and you sat in behind him, do you think you would have had more of an opportunity to draft him back down over the line?
Probably not, because he had the drive off the corner. I didn't have the drive off the corner. I could get decent exits if I really tried for it, but I just couldn't set him up as good as he could. It was the same with Gregory and Arnaud. They just were able to get better exits. Where I got him was just the fact, like, under braking, I was better.
Okay, mate. I'll leave it to you. Alex, over to you.
We've still got 3 rounds to go in this series. We've got the Nürburgring, Detroit, and Mid-Ohio. There's still good points available on the table, and of course, you've come into this with a championship lead. What's going to be the best approach that you're going to put forward in your own mind, as in just to sort of put it on pole, try and win every single race possible, or keep yourself in that consistent top 3?
Well, all I can say is, look out for Nürburgring, boys. I got a cracking set, and I'm going to be fast. That's all I'm saying. I'm just going to leave it at that. And then after that, I look forward to Detroit and Mid-Ohio. It's 2 other tracks I love street circuits, so Detroit's going to be awesome. And then Mid-Ohio is just a naturally flowy track, and I like elevation change. So similar to Spa, how I like Spa because of all the elevation and stuff. I'll like Mid-Ohio with the car as well.
Okay, short but sweet, as they would say. Aidan, anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go and we end the broadcast? So, as you're the last person we're speaking to tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my team, WSR Esports. Voice crack. I'd like to thank. Well, let me redo that. I'd like to thank my team, WSR Esports, and all our sponsors: Abruzzi UK, Next Level Racing, Knight Rider Designs, and MB Cinematography, and of course our new sponsor, RaceGear.eu.
Brilliant, Aidan. Well, we look forward to seeing what you're going to bring in terms of fireworks to Nürburgring next week. But still on the podium. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
See you guys next week.
Well, that really wraps up the coverage here on the JP Broadcasting Network. JP, new winner in both classes, Miguel Vigo and Garrett Mains. Obviously, there's still a little bit of, let's just say, discussions that I think might need to be had between a couple of individuals behind closed doors, but obviously we'll leave them to it. But as I said, Interlagos, roller coaster, it brought fireworks. We definitely got it in that photo finish in GT4. What else can we say about today?
Yeah, do you know what? I don't know how just the upset is, because they were both at it. They were both turning in. They were both leaning on each other. They were both dooring each other. I still believe, and I will take this for as long as I'm here, is the fact that final corner move from Aidan Young, if he'd just followed him, I reckon he could have got him. I feel that final corner cost him. But overall, an epic race here at Interlagos.
Yeah, well, that rounds out our coverage for round 7 of season 2 of the Sportscar Association Americas by RDocs. A big thank you, as always, by Vero Motion, RDocs Setups, and also Purple Sectors for their continuing support. Plenty of racing action still to come here on the JP Broadcasting Network. Well, in probably a little, well, in a few hours.
No, it should be. The J2ICS is going live in about 5 minutes, I believe.
I was just about to say J2ICS at Sebring. We've got Radical Race Series at Montreal, League Zero Super Formula Round 9 at Imola. We've got the NARS Virtual Modern Sports Car Championship, 1.5 hours at Detroit. We've got the 100 Minutes of Qatar, the Virtual World Sports Car Championship, on the 17th. No Novice Racer League Round 4 goes to Okayama. The OGRL Coffee Cup Season 3 Round 4 at Spa. And of course, what we always like to end every single week, every Sunday night, without fail, IGP Fun Super Formula Lights. Thank you so much to everyone that has been watching. This has been a JP Broadcasting Network production. Don't forget to do all the good things, like, share, subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to get involved with SAA, there are some links in the description down below to get your follow. You've joined myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and James Parfitt on what has been a fantastic 7th round out of 10 for Sportscar Association Americas in LMP3 and GT4. Until next time, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.